Well, hey there everybody. Today I'd like to introduce you to the latest addition to the collection. This is the Bud Olson Bar. This sign hung on Leavenworth Street for almost, I want to say, better part of 50 years. It's a family-owned bar. Started, from what I can gather, either late 60s or early 70s. Earliest photo I can find of it is 1972. And it hung in two locations, the most recent being 5 blocks west of where it was originally. This sign came down at the beginning of May, and I was really hoping the family would keep it on the building since it is, family bar and all that. And I read that they were entertaining the idea of someone else taken over, but I guess that didn't happen, and it got sold. But the guy who took it down decided he wasn't unable to do what he wanted with it, so he contacted me. So of course I bought it from him. So unfortunately, in the month or so that it from when it came down from the building until now, is most of the tubes got broken. They were mainly intact when it came down, but they're all gone. I can see some of the aftermath that I collected when it was delivered, but yeah, it got annihilated. So I mean, not all the tubes were good. You can see, like, this tube here is tubulation got tipped off. They got probably nicked off by a hailstone or something, and there's rust inside on the electrodes. And these, you can see these metal oxides inside along the phosphors, and so this tube wasn't good either. These are, on the inside of the tube. That's a complete remake on that kind of tube, but it would have been nice to have them for the drawing the patterns, but anyway, this is I have this strap on it right now because it is wobbly. It has a conduit on the back that it's lying on, and it's for the retrofit sign that hung on the top here. That was added later, but check this out. This is just like caulk, and so yeah, that's code today, right? in the 70s, whatever. I guess whatever goes, but because that's when this at least is when it was hung. But anyway, I'm gonna put you down, take that conduit off the back, and then we can get into the walk around and digging inside, see what we can find inside the can. So okay, we got that conduit off there, so it's more stable on these sawhorses now. But we'll proceed with the walk around. I thought I'd measure it for you, see what we got for dimensions here. Let's see. This top part with the open is right at 11 feet. The open can, that's what it used to say, open 3 feet by 13.5 inches or so, and I'm gonna guess 10 wide. 10.25. This main can is about 9 inches, and this bottom can is 9.5 by 47, almost 4 feet, and right at 23 inches tall. So, this can, a general assessment of the overall condition. The can itself is in pretty decent shape. except for the bottom part here. And you'll notice it is kind of rotted out. And that is because of all these bird nests in the bottom. That will hold moisture, and the moisture causes the rust. So that's the problem here. Unfortunately, that's kind of the part of the sign that holds this angle bracket was attached to the bottom, and that was load bearing for the bar can. So I decided it was dangling on by a few of these little very rusty old bolts. So I just zipped those off with a reciprocating saw, because it was torquing and stressing, and kind of, you can see it was bending the can. The bolts were yanking on it. So that'll need a little bit of metalwork restoration on the bottom there. But definitely get those bird nests out of there. As mentioned, all the tubes are broken except for maybe this one, Bud, on one side. This has really cool imprint on it. Sylvania. That's a vintage Sylvania logo. Trying to trace how old, when they stopped using that logo, I want to guess the late 50s. So this tube itself is old. Obviously, it was old stock that the sign shop had, because this sign was, well, the bar, was opened late 60s, early 70s, so that was just old stock they had lying around at the neon shop. So old tubes, so that's pretty cool. It says turquoise. I've never seen neon pumped in a turquoise tube, so it's probably going to be an argon mercury tube, so probably going to be turquoise. But anyway, this tube may indeed be intact, and I will be testing it at the end of the video after the walk around, so we'll stay tuned for that. We'll see if that one actually lights up for us. This open can on the top, pretty basic, single tube on each side, word open. It's not even painted with the backlit letters. So that separate conduit shooting up the back that way I just took off, may have been able to turn it on and off separately, not sure. But those were clear tubes, just clear red neon gas inside. This side was facing the east. The building was facing north, and this particular side was the east side of the sign. And it seems a little worse for wear than the other side. Honestly, I would have thought the west side would have been worse, but at any rate, we got looks like a patch panel right here as well, riveted on with these pop rivets. You can see they're not the only place on the can you see these, compared to this side where there's none. This is this old style of can. This is I don't know, I call it a folded edge. I want to say they made these through the late 50s or 60s, and the seams were welded together or brazed, kind of probably lead solder. And edges were folded. Unlike the more modern cans, which use the Pittsburgh lock seam, folded steel. So, but this has some pretty cool accents. Some bullnose accents here on the top and the front. This is kind of streamlined modern, maybe Art Deco-ish. So that tells me late 30s or 40s for the actual body of the sign, which means this would have been repurposed. I want to say it was a longer sign that got cut in half, and then they just kind of folded over the bottom, and because a seam right here instead of just having a whole panel seems a little counterintuitive, but again, you can like many of my other signs, you can see covered housing holes that have been, this one's been professionally covered, You know, they've been welded or brazed, soldered patches in there. Unlike the riveted or screwed patches that I feel kind of like more like in the fly field repair, like on aero rooms here. Yeah. So, kind of professionally redesigned in the shop. The bar can is folded edge style 2, which leads me to believe this was probably another reused can that was just screwed onto the bottom of the main sign, and then they added this retrofit open. Maybe this was actually manufactured to be specifically for this sign. It's possible, as it's a newer style, and they used angle iron to attach it and screw it onto the back there. The lower portion only has 1 tube per side, 2 housing holes on each side. I don't see any repairs of patched ones. It was covered with these plexiglass panels on the top. You can see where they used to be screwed in here and over here. Probably it was hanging lower than it originally did on the second building, so they probably had issues with rocks or rowdy patrons breaking the tube on the lowest tube. So that's probably what that plexiglass was for. The top of this can, though, is interesting. It's got these seams that are interlocked and riveted. It's kind of odd. I've never seen that style before, but whatever holds it together. There is a bit of rot on the bottom of this one. When we do the walk around, I'll show it to you, or when I show you the inside of the can. Because the door is on the bottom. Oh, there's a door on that side too. So, but this it's kind of an orange color, which leads me to believe that these tubes were orange on these 15 millimeter tubes that read bar. Whoa, leftovers. You can see that says green, Voltart green there, and on this one it's a Sylvania green. So green phosphor pumped with neon gas gives off an orange glow. So I believe these 15 millimeter tubes to be originally orange that match the color of the sign paint, as opposed to green, which the phosphor would be if it were argon mercury. So we got number 300 housings here. These are pigtail housings. I attach the electrode wires. And I guess that's about it for the overall condition. The yellow paint survived pretty well. It's actually still has some of a sheen to it, which is I find it'll be a little bit surprising. Maybe it's all the lead in the paint. Anyway, I'm gonna get the screws out of the doors, and then we'll take a peek inside, see what kind of relics and treasures from the past we can find. Okay, yeah, got the doors off, and let's take a look inside. This bottom door looks like maybe someone tried to seal it with roofing tar, perhaps to remediate the rust issue. But anyway, I haven't looked inside. I like a surprise, so you get to see it with me. Ooh, it's all sticky. Ugh. Oh, maybe that's a transformer tar. Wow, that is a lot. Okay, let me turn the light on. All right, here's our bird nest. Wow, and there is one messed up transformer. Looks like Creature from the Black Lagoon. Oh, these cloth wires. Some housings. Eek. Take a look at this rust. All right, next. I got a little little separation in here. Divider. Oh, here's some patch panels for housings that are no longer there. I don't really see anything of interest on this side. Hey, look at that blue. That's a possible color. What it used to be. More blue. More housings. Oh, some GTO's high voltage wiring. That fell off of that housing there. So that won't have to get reconnected. See it right here. That wire fell. Next one. What do we have in here? There's a nice overspray on here. I wonder if that's the original color of the can. It's kind of a forest green color. Oh, a steel support structure. There's not a whole lot in this can. I've got one transformer. And a few separations. That's an odd structure. Oh, you know what? I bet that was added when they put this open can on the top. Added for additional support. So, speaking of that, well, take a look at this then. What we got in here? It's a transformer. Ooh, it looks kind of loose. What is that box down there? Can you see that at the bottom? What is that thing? I didn't open that bottom door because I wasn't sure what was going to fall out. Maybe that thing? I wonder if that's like a timer or a light sensor. Photo electric cell. I don't know. I'm going to get that out of there. But let's take a look at this one. Whoa. All right. Ooh, that's nasty old transformer kicking around in there. Yeah. Base rusted off. Wow. Look at this fun stock connector. This thing is huge. Ah. That's a big one. It's a spring connector that attaches onto wires. Oh, there's the rain. It was sunny earlier, and then the clouds rolled in, the wind picked up. Now we got a big rainstorm going on outside. Let's open this other door. Let's not get some glass in my knees. How's that sound? There's another big fun stock. Right there. I wonder if we can get a date on that transformer. It looks like a Jefferson Electric, so that would be no. Yeah, it's a Jefferson Electric. They're terrible at putting dates on their transformers. Lame. Got some ceramic wire supports there on the sides. And I'm interested to see what that thing was in the bottom of this can. I'm put you down here and open that door and see what comes out. It's a booby trap. Look out. Alright, I'm hand holding you because the gimbal doesn't like going upside down. But check this out. This is a solid state flasher. I think this is the same number model 110. I think it's the same one that was in Imagers. Remember that one? Look at this. What is this? Epoxy? We'll leak out the epoxy. Maybe someone tried to glue something. I don't know. But interesting. So maybe this open would have had to flash when it was open. That's pretty cool. What if that thing works? I bet it does. Solid state. Unless it got all wet. Okay. Well, that's about it for the inside. It's pretty cool. But now the moment you've all been waiting for. Gonna test out the bud tube. We'll see if that thing works. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jumper all these broken tubes and see if that old nasty transformer, this grody guy, see if that thing has enough juice left to power a tube. Alright, we'll get these jumpers going here in 1 second. Alright, well, I'll jumper it up, all the broken tubes. Neon's wired in series, so all we gotta do is complete the circuit here. These are obviously just temporary. This is not something that you'd want to have all the time. But I don't know if you can see it down there. I was looking at that little electrode. It's just a single wired electrode designed that way. I don't see those very often. But anyway, so we got these tubes jumpered up. I have I evicted the bird's nest. That was tasty. So I could dig out the wires for this old transformer. That looks sketchy at best. Don't try this at home, kids. I got the ground wire hooked to the can in case it arcs out. And oh yeah, I got that GTO back on there. So we should have a complete circuit. And all we got to do is flip the switch. We'll see if it works. See if that old transformer's got anything left. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh man, I don't believe it. That is awesome. Wow. Turquoise. Sylvania. Turquoise. Ooh, look at that. We're arcing right there. Time to turn that off, but that is so cool. Oh man. Well, wow, that was awesome. Good way to end. All right, well, thanks for joining me. Hit subscribe for restoration updates on this sign. Stay tuned for more neon-related videos, and we'll see you next time.